we've had a lot of fun and laughs this morning, but this is a true honor for me to introduce this speaker. You know, I could tell you that Ricky Singh is originally from New York City and moved here 10 years ago. Yes, all right, New York City fans in the house, apparently. I could tell you that he's an artist, an educational leader, and a community curator. I could tell you he's a founding leader at the Lab School and co-founder of the Lab Upper School, which is across the street-ish from Lenny Boy Brewing. And if you haven't been there, arrange a tour. It's an amazing place where it really gives you a lot of hope about the future of our students. And I could tell you that he is one of the co-founders of the Beatty Ford Strong Mural Project, which in the wake of a deadly shooting, Ricky mobilized, along with other artists, creatives to bring hope and something to be proud about on the Beatty Ford corridor. But what am really excited to introduce you to about Ricky is that this is a man where the time for him is always now. So if it's 5 o'clock somewhere, according to Jimmy Buffett, it's always now o'clock on Ricky's watch. Because when you ask him to do something and there's an opportunity to create, he says yes. And this is one of those interesting, critical things about life. You know, Matt and I have learned through doing this work that when you stand up, people reach out to you. And you have a choice of whether you're going to reach back, you're either going to say yes, whether you're going to make the time. And it's been, for me, a somewhat humbling and sometimes really kind of scary experience because you can feel smothered and feel, oh my, I have so much to do. It's now can either be an empowering word or it can be a word that terrifies you because there's just so much on me right now. But there's time. You know, with Ricky, he reached out to Matt and I for a while, and it was at a very busy time, and I made excuses. I'm just going to say right now, where is Ricky? He's right there. I made excuses. I'll get with him. I'll get with him. And then finally, I was like, this guy keeps calling, keeps wanting to reach out to us. Let me just talk to him. And that phone call was something that changed some of the direction of my life and established a friendship. It took a second to do, but I put it off for so long. And I've learned from Ricky to say yes. That when people reach out and say, I just want to give you a second of my time, they have something to tell you. The universe is trying to say, make the time, give them the time, give them an ear. And that's what Ricky does for so many people. And for us at Charlotte as Creative, and for me personally, when we have a crazy idea, like we have one this week that has not as much budget as it should and very little time, we were like, who do we want to call? And many of those people are in the room. William McNeely, Coach McNeely was one of them. Ricky Singh was another because we know he'll say yes. We know he will pour himself into it. We know that he will give more than he gets. And we know that he will take this precious thing that we have called now, which is all we can bank on. We just have right now. We don't know what happens tomorrow. So when an opportunity presents itself, you say yes, you make the best of it, you bring people along on the journey, and you make your community better. And that is what Ricky Singh is all about, and we are damn lucky to have him in our community. And I'm damn lucky to have him as my friend. So Ricky, get up here and spill your wisdom. Ricky Singh, everybody.
All right. I want everybody to lower their expectations for a second. All right. I've convinced myself that this is just one big staff meeting. All right. So close your lids. I need you with me. Right. So I'm hoping, I've been described. It was years ago. I was in a leadership retreat, and we each had to write something about each other on an index card and hand it to them before they left. And somebody wrote, it said, Ricky, you are a duck. You are just coasting across the water, but no one knows what's happening under. So I'm hoping today, in the next 9 minutes, you learn something about me that is not going to be on social media, and you take it away, and hopefully it, I don't know if it will inspire you, but hopefully it pushes you to think more about your time. All right, let me get my clicker here. All right. I am from Brooklyn. I am from Fulton Street. I am from greasy hamburgers. I am from hot dogs. I am from stealing from the Icy Man. Yes, I did that, and I ran away. I am from Junior's Cheesecake. Anybody know Junior's Cheesecake in New York? Right? They do have a version in Costco. It's not as great, but it's good. I'm from Bismarcky. I'm from Gold Rope Chains. I'm from hip hop in the 90s. I am from my grandfather selling that rope chain when I was in the store as a 4-year-old. I am from hopping the turnstile and hitting my head on the sign, and then getting cornered by the police about hopping the turnstile. But I'm also from art, I'm also from graffiti, I'm also from doing things I probably shouldn't have done when I was a youth in New York. And this is just one example of an artist, Donda, if you don't know him, or Donda, if you don't know him, Google him. He passed in the 70s, but he was a prolific graffiti writer. I'm also from greasy pizza. I believe there's two people in the world. There's people that will just like eat the greasy pizza, and then there's people that will like tilt it and let it drip. I'll just eat it. It's like ingredients, right? I'm from Fort Greene, so that's the part that I'm from in Brooklyn. But I'm also an older little brother. So raise your hand if you've ever been an older, younger sibling. Let's just see how many people have been there. All right. So what's that like? It's stressful, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go like down for a moment and then we're gonna go back up, all right? So this is my brother, he's not here anymore, but he passed in 2005. And I froze. Everything stopped. Every part of who I thought I was as a person stopped. I put down the spray can, I put down the paintbrush, everything stopped. I came home, I got a job, and I was working, I don't know, 16-hour days, and I became someone that I didn't know. This was actually my first art exhibition flyer. Somehow I found it in 2005. It was a nice little artifact for my kids. But that was it. That was the last time I've ever done anything, was in 2005. And he passed in 2005, so not 3 months after. And then I met my wife. All right, so she's up top, and I know this is a really old photo that I did not get permission to share, but we all know the impact of a significant other, right? And when I met my wife, she flat out told me the first day, she said, this is not gonna work. You're working 16 hours, like this is just not gonna happen. And I was fine with that because I wasn't who I thought I was supposed to be. This is my family, and these are my kids. But my family is really like this. That is really what my family is, right? I'm on my phone checking emails from Tim, and EJ's looking at me. You know, somebody slapped someone in the head. You know, it's what it is. But I kind of go through these points to explain that, like, even in this moment, I was still frozen. So, like, don't get it misconstrued. Like, I was still frozen. I was growing as an individual, right? I realized that my purpose was to be the best father I can be for my boys, but I still was frozen. And you all have those moments where you wake up at 3 a.m., right? And I would wake up at 3 a.m. and I would have those moments of questions and regrets. You know, what if my brother didn't pass? What if I never came home? What if I pushed myself to continue in the hobbies or parts of me that I thought should have been there? Why did I go in education, right? Why didn't I go to law school? Anybody have those moments at 3 a.m. where you raise your hand? Yeah? All right. And again, I was a professional. I had children, right? And then I would go to work. So this is Charlotte Lab School logo. If you don't know, Charlotte Lab School is a good plug. It's a great charter school. It's something I pour my heart and soul into. But I'd get up and go to work at 6 a.m., right? And keep churning, right? You keep churning away. And the love and passion I have for youth, especially Charlotte youth, helps to drive that. And then this happened. Anybody remember this? It just happened, right? And I remember vividly, it was really funny because we had a student versus staff basketball game. And we had like 600 people in this gym in Friendship on the west side of Charlotte. And then the next day we were closed, right? And everything, you know, when this happened, how many people felt like they were just working all the time? All the time. It just like there was no schedule. You just were constantly working, trying to figure out your way. So I think what ended up happening was I found it more random opportunities and times, right? So I'd find these times where I would start to get on my iPad and start to dibble and dabble with sketching. And this is, 2020. And then I remember, anybody know this man? Raise your hand if you know this man. So this is Alvin Jacobs. If you don't know him today, make sure you know him when you leave here. So he is I think, the easiest way to explain it is he's a photographer, but I think what he tries to capture is justice through vision. And I remember through the wake of all of the moments that may be hard for us to recollect, he was traveling to Kenosha, Washington. He was traveling around capturing these photos of what was happening in our country during a time where we were all watching it on TV or living through it. And I remember talking to him, and he kept on sending me these photos. And I took those photos when I'm up at 3 a.m. and instead of sitting there and thinking about what I have to do in the morning, right, because I was already overworking, I started sketching on them. I started drawing. I started sending him stuff back. And he called me one day and said, "Is this yours?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm like finding these random moments. I'm just, getting back into it." And then I met this person. So this is Denier Davis. She's an amazing artist. And she had a project with Charlotte Art League through the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement called Building Bridges. And she reached out to me and said, "We got this project. Alvin said you're doing some stuff. Why don't you come out?" And I remember it being sort of like the end of the school year. And I said yes, right? I said, sure. I felt more confident kind of going back into it. And if you don't know about the Building Bridges movement, it basically took the wooden panels that were boarded up uptown and created this string of murals along the Black Lives Matter kind of road. And that's how it started, right? So this is a picture of me painting one of those boards, 15 years later, right? Tim talks about the Beatties Ford Strong movement. I live on the west side. It's where my heart is. Post Uptown, I felt like something needed to be done in terms of how do we use art to help healing, and I was able to help coordinate a movement on the west side and continue to try to do so. So what does this all mean? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say this. I can sit here and think about the 15 years that you might have lost, or I was frozen, right? I can think about who I probably could have been in that point, but am I honoring the journey, right? Am I honoring the journey that everything, it does happen for a reason, right? And I think the more time we spend on saying yes and not reflecting back, we make positive improvements for our life, right? So this is a mural I did with Michaela Binter, who's also an amazing artist and person in our city. And behind it is a symbol. Anybody know what that symbol is? Sankofa, right? So Sankofa is from the Akan tribe, and the Sankofa means to learn from your past to inform your present and future. And that's what I figured out. When Tim said, "I want you to speak to now," I was sitting there, he hung up the phone. I'm like, man, what does he mean? Right? And I'm like, do I want to call him back? And he was like, "You're just the person for it." And I didn't get it until yesterday, Tim, of what I knew what I was going to talk about, but I didn't really get it until yesterday. And I think a big part of it was this. I wasn't learning from my past, I was mourning it. And I think a lot of us sometimes do that, right? You mourn who you think you should be, right? And I think a big part of that is this. Who you are today should actually not be who you continue to be. You need to evolve and grow and change. That is literally what oh crap. There we go, all right. That is literally what you should be doing. So I wasn't actually learning from the past, I was mourning it, and I wasn't embracing now as much as I needed to be. And I will say that, it can be challenging moving from mourning to learning, but I push you today to attempt to do it. Move forward, don't dwell in the past, learn from it. I stand here today, I don't know, 2 years, I would say, as an active artist in our city, and I wouldn't change the 15-year frozen period. Maybe I needed that to be the person that I am today, the father, the husband. Learn from the past to inform your present and future. Leave here today choosing to let go of the mourning part. I cannot thank you all enough for this opportunity and Creative Mornings. That's it. I'm Ricky Singh.